Hey community, how is it going? I hope that you are doing well. Well, today we are going to learn one of the examples of the deploy examples repo that has Hummingbot plus dashboard. We are going to see how it works, how you can tweak it, and then how to deploy it into AWS. For that, I have already a machine, a T3 small, with Docker installed. It's pretty easy, you just need to follow the instructions of how to install Docker from the official documentation. And then when we have the project that we want to deploy there, we're going to move the files to that machine. I'm going to show you some tricks of how to do it in an easy way. And then we are going to expose the port to see the dashboard up and running in the web browser. So let's get started. Well, this is the repository. As you can see, you have a bunch of examples, and also you have here an explanation of each example. Inside each folder you will find another explanation. In this case we want to use this one, that is Hummingbot with dashboard. And as you can see, this Docker Compose YAML is using the latest image of Hummingbot and the latest image of the dashboard, and that is what, when we run Docker Compose up, we are going to pull if we don't have them already. If you had that image and you want to update to the latest version, you should use the flag pull to pull them again if there is a newer version of the image that you are using. So now it's time to run this locally. I'm going to copy this example. I'm going to open a terminal. I'm going to the desktop. I'm going to create Hummingbot dashboard cd Hummingbot dashboard code. We have this Hummingbot dashboard file, VS Code. And what we can do is to create a new file. Let's call it docker compose.yaml and paste the example that we have. If we just run docker compose app-d, this will create the two containers for you if the image is available here. If not, it's going to pull the image from the Docker Hub and then it will start. Before I run this command, you have to make sure that Docker is started. So as you can see, I don't have Docker started right now. If I run enter, I have an error like that Docker is not running. So I will open Docker. I can come back to VS Code. And then if I run now docker compose app-d, you will see that the image of the bot is pulling. Okay, now we have dashboard and client running. If we run docker ps-a, you will see that, sorry, docker ps, just see the ones that are running. As you can see, I have a Hummingbot instance running and a dashboard running. I have the dashboard up and running, and this is the dashboard created by Docker, the Docker Compose that we create. So as you can see, no databases are found. I can still check token analyzer. So, well, probably what you would like to do when deploying the dashboard in a machine in the AWS is to have some pages to analyze the data that you're collecting or data that you like. Now let's see how the bot is doing. So if we run docker attach Hummingbot, well, we have the client up and running here. Let's create a new strategy, or we can just run a script like the candles example. Start script candles example. This script you need to run status live, since it's collecting candlesticks from different. I'm going to sum up. So as you can see, I have 1 week, 1 minute, and 1 hour of Ethereum. I will now explain you some of the things that you will probably want to do when you are trying to deploy this later on. So first of all, how to auto start this. There is an example, but it's pretty easy, so I will do it here. You have to use here environment, and then is config password. If you want, you can use the secrets. That would be better than just hard coding an A, but this is just for educational purposes, so don't worry. Config file name will be equal. If it's a strategy, you will need to put the name of the YAML that has the configuration of the strategy. If it's a script that doesn't have a configuration file, you will need to pass the name of the script.py. So in the previous example, just recently, we just ran the candles example, so we can use the same one. So I'll be doing candles example.py. So with that, it should work. If I now go to the terminal and run docker compose down, this will kill the containers and remove them. If I now run docker compose up -d again, it should create the instance of Hummingbot plus the dashboard and auto start the candles example. So let's run docker compose up -d, creating. So now, as you can see, connection error. This is because the previous container was stopped. Now it's back again. And now we have dashboard back again. We have candles example. This error that you have here, well, this project is in beta because we are just building it, and there we have to improve some of the error handling. But if the strategy doesn't have any trade, this is why you have this error, because this page is like focused on one trading pair and one exchange at a time. So it's trying to get the exchange and trading pairs, and it doesn't have anyone. So that's why you have this error. But it should be solved soon in the next release of the dashboard. Well, you will see that also the strategy was auto-started, so all good. Now it's time to review AWS. Once you create an account or log in, you will need to go here to EC2. You will find this service. That is the one that we are using. As I mentioned, I have here a machine already, a T3 small. If you don't have one, you can just launch a new instance. You need to put the name, test, I don't know, whatever. Ubuntu, the version 22 is alright, or probably you can use 2004. The instance type is the thing that you will need probably to tweak based on the quantity of Hummingbot instances that you want. In this case, I'm using T3 small. As you can see, it's 2 vCPU and 2 GB of RAM, so it's very small too. This is important because you will need to use a PEM. In this case, I have this PEM that I have in my computer. Well, the security group, then we are going to talk about that. Storage, you can use with 30 GB, that is the free tier, is enough for this. And then you just need to launch the instance. So once you have your instance created, the thing is how you can access to it or how you can deploy Hummingbot. Well, there are several ways to do this. You can, for example, have a private registry. If you're using like a custom image and you want to build all the things that image and deploy it, you can use ECR for that. You can also, for example, update a repository every time that you made a change, then go to the instance that you have Hummingbot, pull the changes, build again and run it again. That would be for me the worst option because you will need to rebuild and do all the stuff, enter in each machine at a time. So that definitely is not what I recommend. You can use in the future the dashboard to create instances, and that will be pretty cool. So you don't have to code or access anything. Or the last thing that I'm going to present you is how you can configure the different remote machines that you have, and based on the IP and the PEM, you can copy the files directly from your local machine to AWS, and then you can just run docker compose up, and the new changes are going to be very fast implemented, and you can deploy new versions very fast. To do so, we are going to open the terminal and open the file that is .ssh/config. I'm using Mac OS, so depending on your operating system, you can check which is where is located this file, or if you have to create it. But basically, once you open this file, you will see that probably you just have this, or you don't have anything. But the formula that you should follow is this: host. This is the name that you want to call it. In my case, is directional HBot because I was running a directional strategy before. Also, the host name. This is the IP address of the machine. You can find it in AWS. Let me show you. Is this one. So as you can see, it's the same IP address. Then the user by default is Ubuntu for if you're using an Ubuntu machine. And then the identity file is the certificate that you used when you launched the instance. In my case, is this PEM that I have located here. So if I have this configuration, now from the terminal, I can just run SSH directional HBot. And as you can see, it's going to log in into the remote machine. So now I am here in the remote machine. If I run ls, you will see that I don't have nothing. If I run docker, you will see that I have Docker installed, Docker version. I have this version 24.0.1. So that's how you can easily access to an instance. And this is not the only advantage, or just accessing to it, because we need to move the files or clone the things that we want. But we are going to use scp, that is like a command that let us copy through SSH files from our local machine to AWS. So you will see how fast I can deploy a new version of the bot. In order to see the bot in action and to see trades in the dashboard, I'm going to create a pure market making strategy with very tight spreads. So I don't know if it's running Hummingbot already. No, I quit it, so I can just run docker compose down and docker compose up -d. Now let's go again to the terminal, docker attach Hummingbot. Let's create stop, because it has the auto start, so I'm going to stop the bot. I'm going to create a strategy, so create pure market making with Binance paper trade, Ethereum, USDT, and this is the configuration file. Now I have the configuration ready. As you can see here inside conf strategies, now I have here this conf pure market making one. Well, to start this strategy, we just need to change here conf pure mark mm1.yaml. And now if we run again docker compose up -d, when we go to the terminal and we attach Hummingbot, we should see that it's starting with this conf pure market making one. So all is working as expected, and we have the two orders created here. Let's stop this bot again, exit data. We have these databases, we're going to remove them since we don't want. So now it's time to copy these files from my computer to the remote machine. So now we want to move all this configuration to our remote machine. So we're going to do this to go to the previous folder, and then we have to use scp, so it will be scp-r. This is to be recursive and send all the files that are inside the folders. We want to move Hummingbot dashboard to our bot. The name that we configured in the host name in .ssh/config was directional HBot, and we want to move it to home Ubuntu. That is like the root directory that we are going to use. This folder will be copied. We copied the logs too. Logs wasn't necessary, we should remove them too, but it's copying all the files. So now if we come back to the terminal where we have the bot, you will see that now if I run ls, I can see here Hummingbot dashboard. If I want to run the dashboard, I just need to do cd Hummingbot dashboard and docker compose app-d. This will get the image, the latest image, or the image that you specify in the compose file. As you can see, for example, if you are writing scripts, you can just modify a script locally, send it via SCP to the machine very fast, and just run docker compose app, and will be the new version running very fast for you. So, well, this is I have an error with the container because I have a bot running already. So let me run docker compose down, docker ps, docker rm dashboard and Hummingbot. This will remove the containers. And let's run docker compose app-d. This is one of the errors that you can have, so make sure that you are always paying attention and reading the information that is provided for you. So now, if I run docker ps-a, you're going to see that Hummingbot is running and the dashboard is running too. So if now I attach Hummingbot, you will see that the bot is running and is running the strategy that we asked for, that is conf pure market making 1. So now you would like to know how you can access to the dashboard. Clue is that probably the IP address will be necessary. So usually we should expect to see the dashboard in this IP address, and the port should be 85001. That is a standard. As you can see, I have top hit here because I was running this in the past, but now this is not going to work. And let me explain you why, because the first time you're going to have the same issue. This happens because I never configured that the machine is exposing the port 8501. So I'm trying to access a port that is not available. So in order to open that port, I need to go to security here in AWS, in the information of the instance. And here you can see that I have these security groups. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click on edit inbound rules. In this case, we want to add a rule with a custom TCP, and then I'm going to add the port 8501, and it will be anywhere. This is not so secure because if you're using the Streamlit without authentication, then you can add authentication because there is a component of Streamlit that lets you configure user and password. But if you don't have that, probably anyone can access to your machine. Two ways of solving this is one, restricting the IP address of who can access to the dashboard. And the second one is to add password and credentials to access to it. Well, with this, we can just save the rules and the security group is updated. So as you can see now, we can access to the dashboard just by changing that configuration. So if we click here on strategy performance, now you can see the bot did some trades. Well, you can see here the P&L, the basic inventory change. Here you have the tables of the trades, the orders, the order status. This is pretty cool because, for example, you have this order ID. You can copy this order ID and do a full search on this table. Is this one, this order ID. And if you want to see the states of that order, you can also use this table and you will see the 3 states: set order created, filled, and complete, and the timestamps that this happened. Before we finished, I would like to mention that this is the latest version, but a new PR that I introduced will be merged soon that has a much more better way to handle the candles, since instead of using CCXT that we found a lot of bugs when trying to get the candles from different exchanges, we are using the data that is now collected by Hummingbot. So let me show you how it works. As you can see now, if the data is not available, because you have an older version, it's not going to show you the database. But if the data is available, you are going to be able to see the data like we saw before, but now the candles are loaded from the database. If I want to resample, you will see that it's pretty fast. You can resample on different time frames because all the data is there for you. And also we have the information about the order book. That's another pretty cool thing that will probably be useful for you too. So well, I hope that you like it, and see you on the next chapter.